forgive, forget, and move on. Right? So, like last year, party हमारी meeting नहीं हो पाई थी.
What did you say to that?
I said yes, because you know what they are right.
You have forgiven, forgotten, and moved on?
I think we all should, because now this country needs a strong opposition.
You and Ashok Gehlot have as good a chance as being chief minister if the party wins.
Barkha ji, it could be anybody. Why just?
अब तीसरा इंसान तो नहीं होने वाला.
Why not? Who knows? How can I predict or how can I prejudge what the decision of the MLAs and leadership will be?
So it's not a done deal that if the Congress wins, if the Congress bucks the trend, right now the polls do not give you that advantage.
Yes.
But अगर ऐसा होता है तो ये 100% डन डील नहीं है कि अशोक जी ही मुख्यमंत्री बनेंगे कांग्रेस के.
पुरानी कहावत है कि भाई किस्मत में जो लिखा है उसे कोई छीन नहीं सकता, और जो किस्मत में नहीं लिखा उसे कोई दे नहीं सकता. But you must work your hardest. You know, someone up there is watching your action.
Sachin, you led your party to a victory in the last assembly election. If I had to ask you, उस समय का mood और इस समय का mood, उस समय की आपकी mental condition और आज की, क्योंकि बहुत कुछ बदल गया in these last 5 years. What is the difference?
देखिए, उस समय बरखा 2018 में जब हम चुनाव लड़ने जा रहे थे, तो we were back to the wall. We only had 21 members of assembly that time. BJP was in power in
It was your worst ever performance when you took the helm of that campaign.
Since independence. So
yeah.
You were fighting as the underdogs. We were back to the wall. And that time we had worked for 5 years. BJP was a very strong government. But now it's different. Now we're the incumbent. Now we have 5 years of government. We have the wherewithal and the resources to fight those elections. So I think we are well placed. But historically, Rajasthan has had a revolving door policy. Right? So every 5 years there's a change of government. Now, how to retain power this time to be able to, fulfill our promises to the people is going to be a tough ask. But I think the feedback, the response I'm seeing in the state, I think we're well placed to get.
But there's one other thing that's changed since then to now, which you haven't mentioned, which has been your own disillusionment, anger, rebellion. बहुत देर तक तो लगा कि आप अपनी ही पार्टी फॉर्म कर देंगे, that you'll go independent. वो हुआ नहीं. Today, are you still a rebel, or are you with the party fully?
There's lots of narratives that are being developed. Some because it suits some individuals, some because it suits certain interests. The fact of the matter is that for 5 years we all worked hard to form a government. Now our immediate mandate is to be able to get the Congress party back in power in Rajasthan. As far as I'm concerned, whatever job, whatever responsibility, tasks I was assigned, I fulfilled all of them with utmost sincerity and with good results, I might add. Now, issues that I've raised in these 5 years, because I think people's issues are important. You can't go back to the voters saying, well, humne kaha tha, but hum kar nahi paye. Right? So whether it's young people's futures, whether it's issues of corruption, and I'm glad we were able to take up those issues in time, show some action, so that now when you go for a renewed mandate, we have that to claim. As far as my personal work is concerned, whether I've been assigned jobs in Delhi or in Jaipur, in the party or in the government, every time I've been asked, I've fulfilled the responsibilities given to me by the leadership in the party, always.
Paper leak se shuru karte hain. How big an issue is it?
It's a big issue. I think there is no... Young people's future, nobody has the right to play with that. When a farmer's son or daughter studies for a year or two, coaching, tuition, living in a city, rent karke kiraye pe rehte hain, and then they prepare and then exam week ho jata hai paper and it gets cancelled. That's not acceptable.
ये तो आप ही की सरकार का scam है.
हमारी सरकार का scam नहीं है. Paper leak हुए, no doubt हुए.
On the watch of your government.
Yes, but I'm saying हम लोगों ने, because I raised this issue, the leadership in Delhi took cognizance of that, and the AICC then directed the state government to enact a new legislation, which hasn't been done anywhere in the country. Now we have, if anyone is involved in paper leak में involved कोई होगा, तो उसका जो सजा है, that will increase to life imprisonment. Now that's going to be a deterrent for future action. Now things like that, gives people confidence that there is a credibility in the future when we have the whole ecosystem of taking exams and giving interviews, etc. So those issues have to be resolved. And Rajasthan mein hua hai, no doubt about it. But we're also taking actions to correct that.
Do you think Ashok Gehlot mishandled the paper leak issue? बहुत देर लगा दी उन्होंने intervention करने में. मुझे याद है कि जब आप इस मुद्दे को उठा रहे थे तो उन्होंने किसी और एक पब्लिक रैली या पब्लिक इवेंट पे बोला कि जो लोग स्टूडेंट्स के लिए कॉम्पनसेशन मांग रहे हैं वो अपनी इंटेलेक्चुअल बैंक्रप्सी दिखा रहे हैं. यू वुड हैव सीन दैट हेडलाइन. इट वाज ऑब्वियसली a veiled attack at you. Do you feel कि गहलोत सरकार ने, आपकी पार्टी की सरकार ने कुछ देर कर दी to intervene in the paper leak issue?
it's better late than never. First of all, सरकार ने कदम उठाए, but not to the expectations that maybe some people wanted.
Or you wanted?
I also wanted.
Would you not have wanted them to act sooner?
आपने जो कहा ना कि ये जो mental bankruptcy की बात करें, I don't think he took anyone's name. First of all,
no, he didn't. We are assuming he meant you.
Second of all, I still stand by that. By the way,
yes,
I still believe that
compensation होना चाहिए था.
I'm not saying you have to give money to someone. What I'm trying to say is that people should be able to know that I have been compensated in terms of उनको coaching में, उनकी कुछ आर्थिक मदद हम लोग करें. But you know, these families, 25 lakh people got affected on that one paper जब cancel हुआ था. Now these are, you know, lower middle class families in rural parts of Rajasthan. They deserve to be, उनका hand holding कौन करेगा? कोई बच्चा overage हो गया. So it's very easy to say कि हमने पेपर लीक हो गया, हमने इसको कैंसिल कर दिया. But उनका जो टाइम, एफर्ट, पैसा जाहिर हुआ है, उसके लिए we have to figure out how to make them feel that there is a sense of responsibility and there is a you know, light at the end of the tunnel. So that we have to do and we should do.
So let me ask you differently. Do you wish that the Gehlot government would have acted A, sooner on the paper leak issue, B, अगर कुछ और कदम उठाए गए होते, अगर ये जो 25 लाख स्टूडेंट्स हैं उनको किसी तरह से कॉम्पनसेट किया जाता, would you have preferred that?
Look, there's always more scope for things to be done better, always. But the fact that we are one government in Congress, Rajasthan, that has done something, and look at Gujarat, look at Madhya Pradesh, look at Uttar Pradesh, वहाँ तो कोई मतलब ही नहीं है, वहाँ पे कोई बोलने वाला भी नहीं है, हम लोगों ने बोल के करवाया है ना, we got something done.
आपने जब अपनी पदयात्रा निकाली तो आपने कहा कि वसुंधरा राजे सरकार के टाइम जो करप्शन हुई थी वो उसके खिलाफ थी. All right, but you were not at that stage very convinced that Mr. Gehlot was taking enough action on those cases. In fact, आपने अपनी एक भाषण में बोला कि क्या इनके लीडर, गहलोत जी के लीडर वसुंधरा राजे जी हैं कि सोनिया गांधी है? आपको क्या लगा बीच में that जो चर्चा चलती रहती है राजस्थान में, that Ashok Gehlot and Vasundhara Raje have a secret understanding?
देखो, I think the clarification has come from him already. I don't want to elaborate on that.
But what do you think?
No,
something in you made you say those things.
भाई 2013 से 18 के बीच 5 साल तक लगातार हम लोगों ने, मैंने अकेले नहीं, everybody, all leaders in Rajasthan were unanimous in raising the voice against Vasundhara Raje's government's corruption. Right? Now, the fact also is that some of these matters were held up in court. So we've taken some recourse in the judicial sphere also since the last few years. But I think people must know that what we say, we deliver. And that credibility to sustain is very, very important when you go and seek a renewed mandate. That's why I said we must be seen to be acting, right? And it must not be rhetorical. कि हमने बोल दिया हम करेंगे लेकिन कुछ कर नहीं पाए. अब कर्नाटक में when we said 40% commission सरकार है बोमई साहब की, and the people voted for Congress, but government of Karnataka has taken immediate action on those commission charges, on corruption charges. So लोग कहते हैं चलो भाई, not vendetta, not personalized attack with anyone. Hard, tangible evidence, if found, action should be taken. So people know that आप लोग
obviously आपको लगा कि गहलोत जी वो नहीं कर रहे.
मुझे लगा हम और कर सकते हैं. मुझे लगा कि पब्लिक को कन्विंस करने के लिए हमें कुछ एक परसेप्शन वाइज कुछ ऐसा करना चाहिए ताकि लोगों में संदेश जाए कि ये जो कहते हैं उस करने में फर्क.
आपको लगता है कि गहलोत जी और वसुंधरा जी का कोई अंडरस्टैंडिंग है?
मुझे लगता है कि आप हमेशा मुझसे पूछ जा रहे हो कि पहले क्या हुआ था. आपके, मैं सोचता हूं चुनाव लड़ना है 10 दिन के अंदर, सरकार बनानी है. मैंने कमिटमेंट कर रखा है पब्लिक से, पार्टी से, कि हम चुनाव जीत कर आएंगे. And that's far more important.
आप स्मार्ट पॉलिटिशियन है तो आप मेरा क्वेश्चन इवेट कर सकते हैं. मैं स्मार्ट जर्नलिस्ट हूं तो मैं दूसरी तरह से पूछूंगी.
आप मसीहा से पूछो. मैं ऐसा कहना चाह रहा हूं आपको कि आप जो बार-बार मुझसे पूछ रहे हैं ना, I'll just sum up in one minute. तो जब हम लोग 6-8 महीने पहले दिल्ली में हम लोग बुलाया था, खड़गे साहब ने, राहुल गांधी जी ने, हमने कई घंटे लंबी बात करी. सारे इश्यूज को मैंने बोला. जो आपने इशू अभी रेज किए वो मैंने पब्लिक में रेज किए, प्राइवेट में रेज किए. पार्टी ने कहा बिल्कुल ठीक इश्यूज है, हम इस पे एक्शन लेंगे. To that point, I must thank the leadership in Delhi.
So you did raise your apprehension that the Ashok Gehlot Sarkar was seen to be not acting fast enough or strongly enough on Vasundhara Raje's government's linked corruption cases with your central leadership.
You are trying to frame words for me, which is not fair. I'm saying to you that whatever issues that you've talked so far were raised by me in public, because I thought the party needs that credibility in its ranks. And then the leadership accepted those points and has taken action already. So that's a good thing that happened. At the same time, I was told to forgive, forget, and move on. Right? So, like last year, party की हमारी meeting नहीं हो पाई थी.
What did you say to that?
I said yes, because you know what they are right.
You have forgiven, forgotten, and moved on?
I think we all should, because now this country needs a strong opposition, needs a strong Congress. A strong Congress can be brought around by winning state elections. if we win these state elections, then we have a really good chance in the next Lok Sabha elections. So a strong Congress is the country's need. And we as Congress people have to make sure that we put aside whatever kisi ne kya kaha, nahi kaha, that's all in the past. It won't, time won't come back. Now we have to look forward. Time is of essence. Elections were called. We are polling in 10 days' time. So we have to make sure that we work hard to get the Congress party back in these states, in the Hindi heartland states, so that we can, mount a formidable challenge and defeat the BJP in 2024.
Now, you openly said that you were told to forgive, forget, and move on. Do you think Ashok Gehlot was also asked to do the same? And let me ask a different way. Is your relationship better today than it was earlier?
I've always had a good personal relationship with everybody. It's never about individuals or personal. It's about issues that we all know and acknowledge. And one must be able to speak and talk as and when time is required. That's important for a public person, for a political activist like I am. It's never about person, anyone. मेरे खिलाफ लोगों ने क्या क्या नहीं बोला होगा. I mean, you all know. But I have never responded in kind. I've always treated people who are older than me in age with utmost respect. And personally, it's not a व्यक्तिगत झगड़ा किसी से नहीं होता है. It's about issues.
अच्छा, प्रोफेशनली कैसा है रिश्ता?
Very good. अच्छा, हम सब मिलके काम कर रहे हैं.
पहले से बेहतर है?
हमेशा से अच्छा था भाई, इसमें कोई व्यक्तिगत
ये तो आप कोई नहीं मानेगा ना.
मत मानो, बट मेरी तरफ से तो मैंने कभी ऐसा जाहिर नहीं किया ना, या मैंने कभी ऐसा कुछ बोला है.
आपकी डिसएग्रीमेंट्स तो थी ना
on issues, on how
उन मुद्दों पे आज डिसएग्रीमेंट है कि नहीं?
Those have been discussed, action has been taken, and जो मुझे लगता है कि नहीं हम कर पाए उसको आगे करेंगे हम लोग. For example, the Rajasthan Public Service Commission, I wanted to be reformed because some of the people now are in investigation, one is in jail, so उनका corruption allegations लग गए थे. So I thought there must be a criteria for selection of this important constitutional position, so that they are beyond doubt. Background check, some scrutiny, minimum qualification, all the things we wanted. Unfortunately, there wasn't enough time and we couldn't get those reforms underway. But in the future, I think this should be done. Because abhi last एक appointment हमारा हुआ है RPSC में, where that person, the CM himself had to say that it's a bad appointment. I'm sorry, we had to make that appointment. So वो गलतियां हो रही हैं. तो मैं समझता हूँ कि आने वाले समय में एक institutionalized mechanism हो जाए ताकि conducting exams, taking interviews, allegations of misconduct can't be leveled against people in that high position.
I was going to ask you exactly about corruption. आपने कहा कि ये जो मुद्दे थे, पेपर लीक इशू बहुत बड़ा मुद्दा था, करप्शन की आपने बात की, लेकिन the enforcement directorate has come after the Congress chief in Rajasthan, the state chief, also against the Rajasthan Public Service Commission bureaucrat that you mentioned. आपको लगता है ये जायज interventions हैं because they are on issues that you yourself have raised?
Absolutely wrong.
Why?
For 5 years, the BJP did nothing to take action against any of the issues. And even now, they are giving notices, they're raiding people's homes, but there is no single statement on why it's happening, what are the evidences, what is the issue that they're raising. Oh, action ED लेती है और जवाब BJP देती है. Election call हो गए हैं, and then you start putting fear in the minds of the leaders of the Congress party. That's absolutely politically motivated. There is no ounce of truth in terms of कि हम corruption के खिलाफ कर रहे हैं. I mean, they have to look inside first.
So you don't want action to be taken on this case?
This is not action on corruption. I still say anyone involved in any corruption, including paper leak corruption, you show evidence, you take action, no problem. But you can't intimidate people during election to divert the minds of the voters just to say हम corruption पे काम कर रहे हैं. I mean, it's an open secret now that ED only attacks people in the opposition. 95% of all raids, inspections, notices, action has been taken against people.
But do you believe that this Rajasthan Public Service Commission officer who's been acted against should not have been acted against?
I'm saying the state government has already taken action. If you have evidence, please take action. But it can't be done during election time. It has been purposely done to put fear in the minds of the leaders of the Congress party. The Congress president हमारे जो है राजस्थान के, उनके घर पे आप छापा डाल रहे हो. There is no statement by the agency क्यों कर रहे हैं, किस लिए कर रहे हैं. But just to say हम आपको तंग करेंगे and we'll go after you. That's wrong politics. That's wrong policy.
Factionalism की बात करते हैं. आपकी और गहलोत जी की perceived disagreement, चलिए आपने बहुत बोला उस पे, उसको एक तरफ रखते हैं. But even so, it's a very interesting election क्योंकि दोनों ही parties में it isn't, there have been divisions, publicly known divisions. Vasundhara Raje Scindia seems to have been sidelined by her party. आपकी पार्टी में एक परसेप्शन है कि अंदरूनी लड़ाई अभी भी जारी है. आपकी अपनी सीट जहां से आप कंटेस्ट कर रहे हैं, हालांकि those nominations have now been withdrawn. There were seven of your own colleagues who wanted to contest from the same seat. How much is factionalism going to hurt the Congress party?
Look, जब इतना बड़ा परिवार होता है तो तो थोड़ी बहुत असहमति हो सकती है, लेकिन माइनर डिसएग्रीमेंट्स के बेस में टिकट डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन में क्या हो रहा है, the best strategy to counter the BJP. And in a large party like ours, there is a, in fact, that's what Mr. Gandhi has always said. Rahul has said, "Hey, let's get all views on board." But finally, ultimate decision by the leadership in the party. Once we come to a decision, then that's sacrosanct. फिर सब मिलकर उस काम को करते हैं. जिसको टिकट मिल गया, अब जिता के लेके आएंगे उसको. There's no issue on that. But yes, some views, some counter views, some inputs that come that may not be all in total agreement, and that's also healthy, I think, to a point. It can't be कि सब लोग एक कदम ताल चलते रहें, सबकी एक ही राय हो, सबकी एक ही चॉइस हो. That's also not possible. And in the BJP, I don't think we have that headroom. कांग्रेस में आप अपनी बात कह सकते हो, कुछ मानी जाती हैं, कुछ नहीं मानी जाती हैं, but it's fine, it's fair play. But to say कि factions हैं and there is such a tremendous pull and pressure कि इसमें हमको politically नुकसान होगा, that's not true.
Why has the Congress not been able to channel to your advantage the absence of a CM face, a declared CM face in the BJP campaign? लोगों को लगा कि शायद वसुंधरा जी को डिक्लेयर किया जाएगा, डिक्लेयर करने के बजाय तो उनको as I said sideline किया गया है. Why have you not been, at least according to the polls are still giving the BJP the advantage. As you mentioned, एक revolving door history भी है. लेकिन आपके लिए इस बार एक एडवांटेज था, वो एडवांटेज था that the BJP doesn't have a strong declared contender. आप इसका फायदा क्यों नहीं उठा पाए?
क्यों नहीं उठा रहे हैं हम लोग फायदा? बीजेपी में जो अनबन है, the disaffection and disunity and confusion in the ranks, the voters are watching both parties. It's a bipolar state. वहाँ दो ही बड़ी पार्टी चुनाव लड़ती हैं. तो जो मतदाता है वो देख रहा है कि भाई ये दो पार्टियां हैं, विचारधारा किसकी है, यूनिटी किस में है, झगड़ा किस में है, रोड मैप किसके पास है, डिलीवरी किसने करी है. एंड फ्रैंकली गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया जो 10 साल हो गए, 9-10 साल हो गए भारत सरकार को, बीजेपी की सरकार है, उन्होंने क्या डिलीवर किया है? इकोनॉमिक पॉलिसी, जॉब क्रिएशन, डिस्पैरिटी बिटवीन रिच एंड पुअर, फार्मर एजिटेशन, एथलीट एजिटेशन. तो people are judging the BJP nationally also. We won elections in Karnataka and Himachal Pradesh. तो वो tailwinds हमको मिल रहे हैं. तेलंगाना में हमारा जो रिवाइवल हुआ है, it's unprecedented. So ये सब मतदाता बड़ा समझदार है, वो सारा समीकरण देखकर ही वोट डालता है ना. He or she is looking कि कांग्रेस ने पिछले साल भर में क्या किया, राहुल गांधी ने जो यात्रा करी, भारत जोड़ो यात्रा, उसका इम्पैक्ट मिल रहा है ना हम लोगों को. It may be belated, but it's coming. Workers are enthused. We are winning states like Karnataka, which people thought double engine सरकार है, नहीं हारेगी बीजेपी, हराए हम लोगों ने. And the same leaders in Delhi had campaigned in Karnataka, they campaigned in Himachal Pradesh also, but the Congress party won those elections.
Does the Congress have a de facto CM face? Because it looks like that face is still Gehlot ji. Do you perceive it the same way?
देखो ऐसा है, forget perceptions. The Congress has a long tradition, history and convention, not just in my state of Rajasthan, हर स्टेट में हम चुनाव लड़ते हैं यूनिटी के साथ, सबके साथ. जब 18 में मैं अध्यक्ष था, I was the party president, but once we got the mandate, we all passed a resolution, one resolution, authorizing the Congress president to decide who will be the chief minister. Yeah. The same tradition will apply in Chhattisgarh, in Madhya Pradesh, in Rajasthan. Once ideas to get past the majority mark, उसके बाद बैठ.
But for example, in Madhya Pradesh, there's no doubt that if the Congress wins, Kamal Nath will be the chief minister.
Doubt अलग बात होती है, but I'm telling the procedure. The process is that it is not, we don't declare.
Okay, so in Rajasthan, de facto, तभी मैंने word use किया, is Ashok Gehlot the de facto chief ministerial candidate?
He is the chief minister of Rajasthan today, and Mr. Dotasa is the party president. And everybody else is working as a team. We are going into polls. There's an incumbent government. Once we get majority, who will get what responsibility will be decided only by the MLAs once they're elected in majority, in consultation with leadership. Public opinion होता है, workers feedback होता है, and ultimately Congress party में we have this tradition of authorizing the president to decide who would become chief minister.
So
because I don't think.
So you mean you and Ashok Gehlot have as good a chance as being chief minister if the party wins?
Barkha ji, it could be anybody. Why just?
अब तीसरा इंसान तो नहीं होने वाला.
Why not? Who knows? How can I predict or how can I prejudge what the decision of the MLAs and leadership will be?
So it's not a done deal that if the Congress wins, if the Congress bucks the trend, right now the polls do not give you that advantage. Yes. But अगर ऐसा होता है तो ये 100% done deal नहीं है कि अशोक जी ही मुख्यमंत्री बनेंगे कांग्रेस के.
मैं आपको फिर दोबारा बताता हूँ. हाँ. इफ की बात नहीं, हम जीतेंगे पक्का. पहली बात तो हम चारों सीट जीतेंगे. देश में बदलाव का मूड लोगों का बन चुका है. Voters want a change and the Congress is the best alternative national party to get people's confidence. हम चुनाव जीतेंगे और जीतने के बाद किसको क्या रोल देना है दिल्ली में, जयपुर में, संगठन में, पार्टी में, लीडरशिप में, सीएम, लीडर जो भी बनाना है, वो सब काम चुनाव जीतने के बाद होगा. 3 दिसंबर को काउंटिंग होगी. उसके बाद बड़े प्यार से, और हमारे
तो
यहाँ
उसमें आपका भी चांस है।
हमारे यहाँ बड़ा एक सरल तरीके से होता है। मुझे याद है 18 में क्या हुआ था, हम सब बैठे विधायक, हमसे चर्चा करी, एंड वी ऑल ऑफ अस ऑथराइज्ड, देन राहुल जी वाज प्रेसिडेंट, कि भाई आप whoever you choose will become leader of the party, and that's exactly what happened in 2018, and exactly वही होगा 23 में भी, so there's no change.
So it's not a done deal that Mr. Gehlot, if the Congress wins, will
I'll
be
tell
the
you what
chief
is a done
minister.
deal.
Yeah.
A done deal is that the BJP is losing and the Congress party is forming the government.
This
That's
is
the
what
done
all
deal.
politicians have to say. What do you actually feel inside of you?
I'm telling you what I'm feeling only. ना हमें लग रहा है हम चुनाव जीतेंगे
क्योंकि आपने ऐसा क्या किया है which is going to buck Rajasthan's historical trend. There's been a lot of focus on the welfare schemes, but if you look at the finances of that, I think one study said that it's about half of the budget. Half of the budget is only on the welfare schemes.
So let me ask you, if you're a government
Yes.
of a state or the central government, you rather spend money in giving people pensions, scholarships, housing, a respectful existence, or rather wave off lakhs of crores of monies of few corporate entities. If I'm at that position, I rather empower my downtrodden, give them the helping hand, give them the financial support. And Rajasthan economic situation, by the way, is far better than a lot of other states. We are now, our GDP is much higher than 20 other states. So whatever decision we've taken, it's with due consideration, with full economic, fiscal, monetary planning. It's not done in a in a ham-handed fashion. बड़ा सोच समझ के हम लोगों ने किया है. मैं फिर कह रहा हूँ, अगर पैसा हमको खर्च करना है सरकार को, अच्छा बीजेपी सरकार 80 करोड़ लोगों को सब्सिडाइज खाना दे रही है, वो तो रेवड़ी नहीं है, वो वेलफेयर स्कीम है. हम लोग कह रहे हैं हम किसी गरीब लेडी को महीने साल का कुछ आर्थिक मदद देना चाहते हैं, वो कहते हैं आप लोगों को इंटाइज कर रहे हो. So this is a debate happening all over the country, but my personal opinion, Barkha, is that if you have to spend money, you rather give it in the hands of the people who run our economy, where consumption increases, women feel more empowered, weaker sections of our society feel that this is, their support getting from the government, as opposed to writing off lakhs of crores of NPAs of banks that are defaulting because of certain loans to certain entities and certain individuals. So it tells you, what your priorities are and how you want to use.
Yes, except that the spending in these schemes are announced few weeks before the election. So they're electoral schemes as opposed to governance schemes.
No, a few of these promises we made in 2018. Some of them were started right in 2019. Some took a year or two to plan and execute. So it's happening as we speak. I don't think it's a question of you're luring the voters with these, welfare schemes. It's a good scheme to have. Now we're making OPS ko hum kanun bana rahe. It's not a policy. So the next government that comes, it'll be a law. Old pension scheme. And why shouldn't it be? Retired people deserve dignity of life. Why should they be not given more money than previous governments?
Let's come back to Tonk for just a moment. आपके खिलाफ जो बीजेपी के वहां पर इंचार्ज लीडर है, सेंट्रल लीडर इंचार्ज, वो है बीजेपी के एमपी रमेश बिदूरी. Mr. Biduri made a very, very inflammatory speech on the floor of parliament, and there's a lot of interest in why he would have been assigned this seat. BJP कहती है routine assignment है. How do you see it?
I have to believe what the BJP says then. It's a routine assignment. It's fine. They can depute whoever they want to come and work in my district. It's up to them. But we must remember why the gentleman whose name you took, why suddenly he's become a national figure and what he had done to attain that fame and popularity. I think it's unbecoming of members of legislature to use that language. And I'm saddened that the systems have not taken into cognizance, the usage of the kind of word that he used. It's unparliamentary. It's one part of it. It's not in good taste. But it is like, अब जो भी है उनको भेजेंगे वहाँ, वो प्रचार कर रहे हैं, घूम रहे हैं, तो पता पड़ेगा. इसी अल्टीमेट डिसीजन जो होता है ना बरखा, वो पब्लिक का होता है. वोट बटन जिस पे दबाएगा मतदाता, that's the final answer to all queries, all questions, all allegations and all permutation combinations. So they can try what they want. You and I can say whatever we want. Ultimate judge of everyone's performance and candidature is the voters of the district.
But this takes me to the debate around ideology. अब मध्य प्रदेश की बात करते हैं, जहां आप भी प्रचार कर रहे हैं. कमलनाथ जी seems to have embraced some things from the BJP playbook in terms of हिंदुत्व. उन्होंने राजीव गांधी की प्रशंसा करते हुए कहा कि अयोध्या में जो गेट्स खुले थे, लॉक्स खुले थे, वो तो राजीव गांधी जी ने किए. Very visible display of religion and so on. तो आपको लगता है कि कांग्रेस में भी एक तरह से ideological shift हुआ है in response to the BJP, in response to the changing politics of the time, in response to an A.K. Antony report that famously once said that the Congress is perceived to be anti-Hindu?
So my view on this is that we must keep religion and politics apart. I don't think it should come together, because your religion, who you pray to, what you eat, what you wear, what you practice is your right, and Constitution has given you that. When people try and bring that into public life and make that a political issue or politicize certain issues, then means you're running away from the issues of bijli, sadak, pani, and rozgar, etc. Now, your question was, is the Congress doing this? I think you took Mr. Kamal Nath's name. Kamal Nath is 70 plus years old. Now, he's been a Hanuman Bhakt for many decades. But because our times have changed, you're looking at that focus and you're saying that's a counter to the BJP narrative. That's not true. जो कोई पाठ पूजा कर रहा है, कोई गुरुद्वारे जा रहा है, कोई चर्च जा रहा है, वो आज से तो नहीं जा रहा है. But now a lot of discussions are happening around that, because जो people in power हैं, they've made the discussion about that, which I don't think is a healthy development for our politics. But Congress at no point, I think, is trying to counter or match what the BJP is doing or saying. We still counter them on Agniveer, economic policy, the Notebandi, the GST, the disparity between rich and poor. Those are issues that hurt. The farmers' agitation. These are the things that matter to people, not what clothes I'm wearing and what food I'm eating and who I'm praying to. And that's, I think, the way that the younger generation of this country wants us to be.
Has the India alliance been at all relevant in the Rajasthan context, where the contest is bipolar? It's not exactly like other states.
These 3 or 4 states is a direct BJP
exactly. So, but I mean, you still have a sulking Akhilesh Yadav, for example.
So, okay, I must say, so whatever happened in Madhya Pradesh, there was a bad taste in someone's mouth because you just both the other. I think that would have been avoided. I don't think it's intentional the way it happened, and I think Digvijay Singh ji spoke about it later on. So, the Congress party winning these states will only make India Alliance stronger. And India Alliance is not about getting 2 Vidhan Sabha seats here or fighting 4 there. It's about making sure that we have a cohesive group to take on the BJP nationally. I don't think it has hurt the India Alliance at all. In fact, a stronger Congress party winning these elections will only make the India Alliance stronger. Jahan tak Akhilesh Yadav ki baat aap kar rahe the Madhya Pradesh mein, I think we could have been able to handle it better. For whatever reason, miscommunication, misunderstanding, wo nahi ho paya. But I think we have to move on again. And I don't think it's going to hamper the chance of the India Alliance.
Let me ask you finally, as you said, कि आपके जो मुद्दे थे, आपने खुल के भी बोले, behind closed doors भी बोले. If you were to step back and dispassionately look at these last 5 years and say about the Gehlot-led government, one thing you give them credit for and one thing you remain disappointed by, तो आप क्या बोलेंगे?
No, I think that assessment is not for me to do. This party, I keep saying this, parties make governments. Governments don't make parties. If you're able to win the hearts and minds of your hard worker on the polling booth, if you're able to motivate them, if you're able to connect with them. और मैं क्या चाह रहा था? Barkha, for 2 years we had a government, there was no Dalit minister in our government. Now there are 4 Dalit ministers. A lot of our workers जो जेलों में गए, जिन्होंने अपनी जेब से पैसे खर्च करे, बीजेपी से इन्होंने झगड़ा किया, and they were mistreated by the government of the day. Those people have now been accommodated. कोई chairman बन गया, कोई corporation का head बन गया, किसी को party का पद मिल गया. And I think not everybody can be given a post, but a pat on the back, a stakeholdership. They must feel they're part of the system in the decision making, in consulting. वो मान सम्मान अगर लोगों को मिलेगा, workers remain enthused. So I was fighting to get that because I had led the party for 5 years and I know what it takes to fight a strong Vasundhara Modi, BJP government, both Delhi and Jaipur. And despite that, हमने झगड़ के खून पसीना बहा के पार्टी को जिताया. उन लोगों को अगर हम मान सम्मान ऑनर देते हैं, accommodate करते हैं, then it argues well for the long term future of the party. And today we are well on our way to do that. So workers, voters, your supporters have to be, it should not be a closed circle where vote koi aur de, kaam koi aur kare, and satta mein hum baith jaye. So dissemination of the the power and the goods that come in power, that's important, and that's what happened.
How much is Modi the factor in these assembly elections? And I ask you this because Rajasthan, like many states in India, votes one way often, not always, but often in the Lok Sabha and another way in the assembly, right? As happened in 2018 and then the subsequent election in 19.
So 2019 election Lok Sabha were fought under unique circumstances. What happened at that time?
What was unique about them?
I mean, we had a Pulwama, then there were some actions taken on the border. The country was in a different mood and voted accordingly, perhaps, which is how it's all in the past now. But 5 years later, people are judging a 10-year. 10 is a long time for a government. Where are we now? What is the debt on this country? How are economic policies faring? Are the farmers' income, have they actually doubled? Have we got the black money back from overseas? Are we taking action against people who fled the nation? Are we a more socially harmonious society? Are young people getting more confidence about the future? All these questions are in the minds of the voters. Therefore, I believe these elections will be fought on issues and not on rhetoric and not on mandir and masjid. So 2023 Vidhan Sabha election, these 4-5 states that go to polls, I think are important. And as far as you talked about the Prime Minister, of course, he's the Prime Minister. He's a popular leader in the country. But he did campaign in Karnataka and he did campaign in Himachal Pradesh. But the people of those states voted for the Congress. So what is to say that it won't happen in Rajasthan? I'm convinced that Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, Telangana, Congress party will get the mandate.
Okay, I'm going to close with, because you didn't answer my actual last question. You said that's for the people to judge. So I'm going to try another last question. You're what, 46?
Yes.
Okay, well, don't look so skeptical. At 46, do you find it irritating to still be told कि आप अभी young हैं, थोड़ा wait करिए, थोड़ा इंतजार करिए? Like 46 is sad to say midlife, right?
I mean, look, I think it's good to have ambition, but and it'll be wrong, and I think it's very insipid to be in a profession and have no ambition.
Absolutely.
But your ambitions shouldn't overtake everything else, right? And there's a time for everything, there's a place for everything. And पुरानी कहावत है कि भाई किस्मत में जो लिखा है उसे कोई छीन नहीं सकता, और जो किस्मत में नहीं लिखा उसे कोई दे नहीं सकता. But you must work your hardest. Someone up there is watching your actions, right?
Yeah.
So, and you have a conscience. As long as you're able to answer your conscience, work really hard, and it's not always about position and post. No, you have to also make a place in people's hearts and minds. वो भी तो करना पड़ेगा, and that is invaluable. So I'm very happy that God has been kind. I've been able to do things in my life that I'm very happy and proud about. And what lies in the future, we don't know. So let's wait and see.
Thank you, Sachin. Always a pleasure.
Thank you.
Mojo Story has always made a commitment to its viewers to go to where the story is. And as you can see here, we are at the epicenter of the Israel war on Gaza. We are right at the front line, about 1 mile from the Gaza Strip, as the Israeli military gets ready with its tanks and its gunners to begin its final frontal assault that will take troops into Gaza. As we said, we are not like other organizations. We believe in giving you all sides of the story objectively and as much as possible from the ground. And that's exactly what we're doing here, covering the biggest global story today from the epicenter of the war zone. So please, we need your support. Support us, become a Mojo member, subscribe to us, spread the word, and thank you for your support.